Let's turn to the book of Acts. Acts chapter 17. Starting in verse 1. Now then, this is talking about Paul and Silas when they went through, well, we'll just read. It says, verse 1, it says, Now when they had passed through Amphipolis and Apollonia, they came to Thessalonica, where was a synagogue of the Jews. And Paul, as his manner was, went in unto them, and 3 Sabbath days reasoned with them out of the Scriptures, opening and alleging that Christ must needs have suffered and risen again from the dead, and that this Jesus whom I preach unto you is Christ. And some of them believed and consorted with Paul and Silas, and of the devout Greeks a great multitude, and of the chief women not a few. But the Jews, which believed not, moved with envy, took unto them certain lewd fellows of the baser sort, and gathered a company, and set all the city on an uproar, and assaulted the house of Jason, and sought to bring them out to the people. And when they found them not, they drew Jason and certain brethren unto the rulers of the city, crying, These that have turned the world upside down are come hither also, whom Jason hath received, and these all do contrary to the decrees of Caesar, saying that there is another king, one Jesus. And they troubled the people and the rulers of the city when they heard these things. And when they had taken security of Jason and of the other, they let them go. Now then, this right here is kind of an interesting thought, where they were actually preaching to the Greeks, and it says in verse 4, and some of them believed and consorted with Paul and Silas, and of the devout Greeks, a great multitude, and of the chief women not a few. And so the Greeks were actually believing Paul and Silas, and Paul and Silas was actually preaching Christ, and how he needed to be raised from the dead, and so this was the Christ. And so then in verse 5 it says, But the Jews, which believed not, moved with envy, took unto them. So if you think about it, the Jews were supposed to be God's people. Well, that was in the past. So now, they're believing in this other king, who's Caesar, and this is blasphemy to them, thinking that that Paul and Silas is talking about another king. They had no idea what they were talking about. And so thus, they were turning the world upside down. Things had gotten so incredibly bad spiritually that this was happening. This was what was happening in those days. This is what is happening to the United States today. People have no idea how to believe. I would dare say that, like 80 or 90% of the people don't know who their Savior is supposed to be. And so we ought to pray for this nation. We ought to pray for the leaders of this nation. And so we ought to go out into the world, preach the gospel, so that people will understand. Let's all stand.